We have yet to really dive into the United States Open and what went down in Brookline, Massachusetts. And as soon as that ended, I interrupted the Father's Day of this man and say, I would like you to call into my show. And he said, okay, because he is Scott Van Pelt, the magical Van Peasy, back here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. How are you, Scott?
I'm well. It didn't interrupt anything. I was just enjoying Father's Day, as I trust and hope you did, and all the dads out there. Always good to visit with you, and here we are.
I discussed it earlier in the program, Scott, and it's rife. It's rife. It's a third rail conversation in a way. The difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day, and how we try to make Mother's Day as special as possible by dressing up or going out to do something particularly special for that day. It's what moms deserve, and that's not the way it goes on Father's Day, and it's got nothing to do other than the fact that most fathers for Father's Day just want to be left alone. And I'm wondering if you agree with that assessment, Scott.
Well, Rich, we were down at the beach, and I'm going to give him a pop. There's a place down in a little beach town called Bethany Beach, Delaware. It's called the Sandy Pony, and they make delicious donuts. And when we came down, we got some Sandy Pony donuts. Mm-hmm. And on Father's Day, when I woke up, I thought, hey, maybe some donuts. Went up, and there was a 2-day-old Sandy Pony donut that was left over that one of the kids had taken half a bite out of, waiting for Dad. That's what I had. There's a half,
and it's great, right? It was great. I'm sure it was delicious, and it was great, right?
On the stove. No, it was still. I mean, I listen. I ate it, and I was happy to have it. But I mean, there was no brunch. There was no brunch. There was nobody putting on a fancy outfit and going to brunch. Okay, none of that.
No, but you wouldn't have wanted that anyway, though. I imagine.
Correct.
Scott, right?
Correct. All I wanted at some point was to sit and watch Brookline, which I was afforded that time. And it was a lovely day.
That's Father's Day. I mean, in a nutshell. Let's watch some golf. Daddy's got the remote. Everybody just, chill.
Yeah.
That's
good.
it. Yeah.
We're good. It was actually an incredible. It was a beautiful day at the beach. Everybody was having a fun time. And, and I think you're right. I think pops don't, nobody needs to turn up a big fuss over us. I got some lovely cards, lovely sentiments, and nice. I got to spend it with my family. So, in all seriousness, it was a great day.
And I love to hear that, Scott. So I'm glad I wasn't interrupting too much to have you come on and offer your 2 cents on the U.S. Open and how it all wrapped up. I'll give you the floor on that and what we'll remember and what was significant for you.
I thought Brookline was fantastic. It's interesting. When you say it out loud, you're like, what are we doing? I mean, it's 25 years I've been covering major championship golf, which means I've been to most of them, more than once in many occasions. Brookline just hasn't had any majors, and I've never been there. So watching it, it's blind to me, and it's not our event anymore. It's now an NBC property again, and so it's fine and fun to watch them do the heavy lifting and watch it. But when you're there at an event, you have a much better sense of it, obviously, because you've been out walking the golf course. But I thought it was a fantastic venue. It was clearly hard as hell. You tend to look at a major and say, who does it identify at the end of a week? And there were some interesting names Thursday and Friday, but come Sunday, it's all heavyweights. And even though Fitzpatrick hadn't won yet, he's top 20 in the world. Even though Zalatoris hasn't won yet, he's got like 6 top 10s in his 10 major championship starts, and he misses by a shot. And Scottie Scheffler, who's the world's number 1, who won the Masters, he misses by a shot. And all the other guys that are right behind it are a bunch of major championship winners. And it felt like the course, as the saying in the U.S. Open goes, identified a great champion. And the shot Fitzpatrick hit on 18, from the bunker, you got to hit a big boy shot. And when the time required it, he absolutely delivered. So at the end of it, it was proper U.S. Open golf, fun. Even though it was a first-time champion, certainly a worthy winner. And, I thought it was a fun watch all the way around.
Do you think Fitzpatrick's shot out of the bunker is going to be up there, like, say, with the Corey Pavin, Shinnecock, Mashie or something like that? Or are you going to be talking about this years from now, do you think?
That's the way Zalatoris framed it. I mean, and he, if you watched, he went over and eyeballed it because, he hit a great drive, and he's got a, at that point, you're down 1, you want to know, what are we looking at here? So he went over and took a look, and, he called it a 1 in 20 shot that Fitzpatrick hit. And he said it was pretty ballsy, and it certainly was. And I mean, I think we tend to do this a lot in sports. You and I have talked about this. Whatever you and I talk on a Monday after what happened Sunday, and it's fresh, and you tend to think this will be a forever shot. I don't know if it's that, but I know that in golf circles, people will remember at that moment and say, here's a guy that had never won, had a one-shot lead, and had to step up and hit it, and he hit it to 15, 20 feet. So it's worthy of being discussed. I don't know if history will remember it the way it does some others.
Scott Van Pelt here on the Rich Eisen Show, and I know you mentioned how the course in Brookline had not had a major, but it had a Ryder Cup. I went to it. I was on SportsCenter at the time, and it was a quick drive up there. Did you see Justin Leonard wearing, I guess, the zip-up version of that awful shirt that those guys wore for the United States side? Did you see that?
Golf's had some poor outfits, I think.
I know.
Can we just call it what it is? I mean, there have been some poor outfits through the years, and that was, I guess it was meant to feel like the wall of an old locker room or something. But
I don't know what that was.
That was a truly insane day, and you were there, so you as Boomer, I was there. You were there, I was not.
Right.
But I mean, the shot Leonard hits a forever shot, and they'll talk. I mean, there was a great video of Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler dropping a ball during the practice round when Leonard was out walking around, dropping it, saying, let's do, hit the shot, right?
Yeah, right.
That's one of those spots on a green where you're like, that's where that dude hit that shot.
Did then a European come out and complain about everybody trampling on their line? Did that happen as well?
They weren't wrong. That wasn't that game wasn't over. We typically don't storm the field before the game's over. I mean, there was a putt that needed to be hit. That wasn't everyone's best moment. I understand why they lost their mind, but
I remember.
In the end, I don't know. Was Olazabal going to make the putt? I don't know. It's been 20-some years. It's probably time to move on.
Oh, they were so angry about that. I just remember that. And I guess, we always in our business, Scott Van Pelt, we always try to pull on strands to make something, bookend or connected in some way, shape, or form. I find it interesting that this is the side of that Ryder Cup, and now we're going to have to wonder. I know the President's Cup is affected by the new world order in golf, but who the hell knows with Ryder Cup what things are going to look like from now on with the LIV Tour, and now everybody, I guess, focuses on Oregon this week. How do you think the LIV Tour has crashed the party, Scott? I haven't asked your 2 cents on that subject yet.
Here's where I land with it a couple of weeks in, at least my experiences with this, because I've covered golf for a long time, whether it's you or somebody that I see out and about that, oh, hey, you cover golf or whatever. What do you think of LIV? Lots of people ask me about it, and I immediately ask them in return, well, did you watch any of the first one? Nope. But that Charles Schwartzel won a pot full of money. Yeah. Okay, well, how long is that interesting to people that so-and-so is going to win a ton of money in Oregon? What's the sell here? Like, because if you're hitting me with, it's 54-hole shotgun, well, that doesn't hold a lot of interest to me, okay? And then the team concept, no one can really articulate in a way that anyone knows or cares. So I think what it is a topic of conversation for guys like you and me, and people in our business. It's certainly a lot of Twitter chatter, but then are people consuming it? Ultimately, that's the part no one said, oh yeah, I watched every second of it. So I don't know, maybe the fact that it's stateside at a course where speaking of, I was there, Tiger won an amateur at Pumpkin Ridge in '96. And it's a cool golf course, so if people are interested, maybe they'll watch. I don't know. It feels like something we talk a lot about, but I don't know who's paying attention to the actual product, and that's at some point a problem.
Well, I guess the tipping point will be if some of the events on the PGA Tour that would normally be star-studded is not as much because they're not there because they've been suspended for playing a couple of events.
You're spot on, but the bigger, I think that's an issue, and if you end up with two tours and that's never happened with football, and it never will, where, there's, way back in the day, like the USFL, some guys went or whatever. But if you end up with two tours that are sort of split down the middle and you're half and half, well, then the sport is crushed by that, because then your attention's diverted and no event has a great field. But what'll happen? The tipping point really will be what happens with majors, because these guys were all allowed to play this week. If there's some sort of change where the Masters or the RNA that runs the Open Championship or the PGA of America or the USGA says, look, we're not going to have you guys because you don't have enough official World Golf ranking points because you only earn those for events that are 72 holes, well, then that'll be the issue. And maybe if you're Dustin Johnson and you got 150, you're like, I want a couple, I don't care. But I think they do care. So that'll be the interesting question that isn't answered until we get to that point.
We had the author Alan Shipnuck on the other day, Scott Van Pelt, and I asked him about the majors and would they weigh in on this, and he said they want no part of it. They just want to run their event, stay out of it. There's no reason to call any more attention to it, and just he doesn't think that the RNA or the Green Jackets are going to come to the PGA Tour's cavalry help here.
I agree, Rich, because it's not their job. And that the tricky thing is there are already 5 Masters champs, I believe, if I count them correctly, with Reed, Sergio, Phil, Dustin Johnson, Charles Schwartzel, who play on the LIV Tour. Masters already has the smallest field to begin with. So if you want the Masters to step in and say, 5 of our past champions, all of whom still can't compete, and then however many other guys that are part of that field that are draws, Louis Oosthuizen, who's been close to winning here on a number of occasions, among others, they don't play. Well, now all of a sudden our field's down to like 80 guys or something. I mean, that's not for them necessarily. I can't imagine them doing that. And then do they want to be the precedent setters, that others follow? I'm with Alan on that. I think it's going to be everyone's looking around at somebody else saying you be the lead blocker on this one.
Well, I guess then the answer is, where does it go from here, Scott Van Pelt? And the general sense is like, if you're the PGA Tour, do you just say, Uncle, okay, let's sit down and we'll talk and merge, and the LIV events are played during the football months, and like you absorb that. You absorb that. The PGA Tour doesn't really want to go up against the NFL and college football anyway. So, what do you think about that?
Listen, there's some. If the PGA Tour were a bit more malleable about how it went about things to begin with, and were more proactive, then I don't think it would have got to this point. But they weren't, and I think they banked on loyalty just for the sake of loyalty. And at some point, your loyalty is for sale when you get to these types of numbers, and that happens. So I can't imagine them giving up immediately and just saying, "Ah, the hell with it." But then, it's a reasonable question to ask, as I believe Jim Nantz did of Commissioner Monahan. So you gave a waiver to people to play in a Saudi Arabian event. So why won't it has the same backers? Why this? I don't know, man. I just feel like there's so much conversation, and I get it. I don't know who's interested in it.
No, I know, and we
other than us talking about it.
Well, we peeked in on it. You know what I mean? We peeked in on it, and the graphics looked like, for the team graphics looked like something out of those Nickelodeon games with slot. Like, I don't know what those graphics were for the teams. I wasn't interested in it at all. I mean, the broadcast. I know people who were putting the broadcast on it looked professional quality. But,
yeah, no doubt.
But the golf wasn't compelling, and I guess that might be the PGA is just like wait it out. Who's going to be paying attention to tournament 5 on the LIV Tour,
sure.
right? Like, so.
Well, and then the PGA Tour got absolutely. I mean, it was magic for them to go out and have the Canadian Open
Rory.
With a glamour group in Thomas, McIlroy, and Finau all go out and play like geniuses in
right.
Canada. It was a circus. It felt like all of Canada was out there just going berserk, and it was. And I mean, they all played great, and you got McIlroy, basically saying, "Yeah, I got one more than somebody else," and it was clear he's whether he chose to be or not, he's now kind of Jon Snow in Game of Thrones throwing out his sword. In this case, maybe he's got the bigger army, but nevertheless, it feels like Rory's front and center out there saying, "Follow me."
So
you could do worse. The PGA Tour could do far worse than an accomplished, thoughtful, articulate guy that's not afraid to talk a little crap.
So does that make Norman a wildling or the Night King? What does that make?
I don't know. That time will tell. I mean, but we found out that he had the Achilles heel, didn't he? He seemed so scary, and then all at once he shattered, didn't he?
Well, I mean, does that mean staring at Alan Shipnuck? By the way, I mean, like, is that what you're talking about, or?
Yeah, that was. How about that? And I mean that whole first week was quite. I mean, again, and I don't know if it played out in our little media echo chamber or if the real world was really out there, at the trough feeding. That's the part in our business that I never really. You try to be clever and figure out from a treetops view, but it's hard when you're down there in the middle of it. You're just trying to find some room in the mosh pit and go with what you think people are interested in. It certainly has been like we've talked about it. I know you have. Everybody has.
Yeah.
So we'll see if people are watching. That'll be the thing.
So is St. Andrews next for you? Are you going?
Not for me.
Okay.
It's such a bummer. We used to have both the Opens, and it sort of was hot potato with the rights for these events. This becomes real boring, but we don't have either of the Opens any longer. So I just watch everybody else work. Our major championship season is done from the TV side.
Well, you know what? Slumming it in Butler Cabin is a pretty place to do that, Scott. So that's all good for
no
you.
one's complaining. No one's complaining. I'm happy to get to do what I get to do, and
you're awesome
what I get to do from St. Andrews this year is watch.
You're awesome at it, Scott. I love watching you on SportsCenter. I feel like I'm watching old school. By the way, I had Kilborn here for a full hour on Friday.
I saw that. He gave me the Farina story about the salmon. How about Kilby? He refuses to age. It's off-putting to me.
My favorite thing is just in the middle of a conversation, he comments on how his pants look on the screen. Like literally half the time he and I are locking eyes having a conversation. The other time is he literally is checking himself out on the monitor to the right.
He is. But he does it. He's mastered the art of being just obnoxiously self-absorbed, but in a charming way. It's the rarest thing in the world. I don't know how he does it.
He's Kilby. He's Lord Kilby. It's leadership, as he likes to say. But hey, love watching you as always. Sorry I didn't run into you at the Emmys, but that was another well-deserved nod for you, sir.
One of us is going to stand up there, or not. It's fine.
All good. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the 3-day-old donut that's still left in your world.
Happy
Take care.
Father's Day, America.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Van Pelt, everybody. Check him out on the Midnight Sports Center.